I remember the sound before I remember his face. That soft, guilty click, the sound of a phone being turned face down. It was a small thing, almost nothing. But in 17 years of marriage, I had learned that the smallest things often meant the biggest truths. Daniel had always been honest. Predictable, even. He kissed me goodbye every morning at 7:30, sent texts about picking up milk or reminding me to eat, and called me Em in that tone that made me feel safe. We'd built a life of comfort, a rhythm so steady it could almost lull a woman into sleepwalking through it. And I did. Until he came back. Ethan was my first love, the one that got away, the one I never quite got over. He messaged me out of nowhere one late afternoon. "Emily, is this really you?" The first time I saw his name pop up, my heart didn't just flutter, it ached. Like an old wound being reopened by the softest touch. I told myself it was harmless to reply. Just catching up. Two old friends reminiscing about college days. Except it wasn't harmless. The messages became nightly confessions. Laughter, memories, private jokes. He told me his marriage was cold, that he thought of me often. And when he said, "You were always the one I should have married," something inside me cracked. I justified it as emotional closure. But deep down, I knew it was betrayal wrapped in nostalgia. The night I left Daniel, it rained. I can still smell the wet pavement, feel the way the raindrops tapped against the windshield like tiny warnings. He didn't shout. He just stood in the doorway, silent, drenched, as I packed a small suitcase. "Is it someone else?" he asked finally. I hesitated. Then I nodded. That moment still haunts me, the way his shoulders dropped, the way his lips trembled just slightly before he turned away. Ethan had promised me freedom, passion, and all the things I thought I'd lost in marriage. I believed him. I wanted to believe him so badly. For the first few months, it felt intoxicating. We'd lie in bed till noon, laughing, touching, drinking wine at 2 p.m., acting like teenagers who had outrun time. But reality has a cruel way of surfacing. It started with the little things. He'd go quiet for hours. Take calls in the other room. Turn his phone face down, just like Daniel did that day. When I asked, he smiled that same easy smile that used to melt me. "It's work, Em. Don't overthink it." But one night, while he showered, his phone buzzed across the counter. A message preview flashed before it disappeared. "Same time tomorrow. Can't wait to see you again." I froze. My heart pounded so hard it felt like it might bruise my ribs. When I confronted him, he didn't even deny it right away. He sighed, sat on the edge of the bed, and said quietly, "Emily, don't make this dramatic. It's just complicated." Complicated. That word shattered me more than if he'd screamed. In that moment, the truth became unbearable. I had destroyed a marriage for a fantasy. Left a man who loved me deeply, for a man who loved only how I made him feel. The irony hit me like a punch. The way I had looked at Daniel the night I left, the confusion, the betrayal in his eyes, was now my own reflection. I became the woman I once swore I'd never be. The fool who believed that love was enough to erase guilt, or that passion could replace loyalty. Months passed. Ethan eventually left, saying he needed space to figure things out. He moved across the country. I was left with an empty apartment that smelled of his cologne and regret. I tried calling Daniel once. He didn't answer. When I checked his social media, there was a photo, him smiling at a cafe, a woman's hand resting on his. She looked kind. Peaceful. The caption read, "New beginnings." I stared at that photo for what felt like hours. My throat tightened, but I couldn't cry. The tears had dried up long ago. Instead, I whispered to myself, "He deserves this. He deserves someone better than who I became." Now, every morning, I wake up to silence. I make 1 cup of coffee instead of 2. The apartment walls echo with my choices. Sometimes I replay it all, Daniel's soft eyes, Ethan's promises, the rain-soaked night I left, and I wonder when love turned into self-deception. I thought leaving would make me feel alive again. But all it did was make me realize how alive I already was, before I let the past seduce me into destroying the present. Last week, I found one of Daniel's old shirts tucked in the back of my drawer. I don't know how it got there, or why I never threw it away. It still smells faintly of cedar and soap. I pressed it to my face and whispered, "I'm sorry." Not because I want him back, but because I finally understand the depth of what I threw away, the quiet kind of love that doesn't make your heart race, but holds you steady when the world spins. I used to think betrayal was something done to you. Now I know, sometimes, it's something you do to yourself. And that realization, that unbearable, hollow truth, is the heaviest price I've ever paid for love.